Welcome to Our Village, Our Voices. My name is Alicia Beasley. I'm here with Elisha Alcantara. Hello. And we're best friends because we're both named Elisha, even though we just barely met. Elisha, I wanted to start out by asking you what got you into the real estate business?
Oh my goodness. So I mean, everybody always wants to do real estate, right?
Well, not everybody.
Not everybody. That's true. I have some friends who are like, that is not my thing. I'm like, how? That's all I ever want to talk about. Yeah.
Do real estate.
Totally. And actually, I got into real estate by way of doing loans. So I started in mortgages and quickly realized that was not the side of the business that I liked. So I flipped over to the real estate side and loved it. You know, I'm in a new town, don't really know anybody, and, you know, managed to negotiate 5 or 6 transactions. So I'm like, all right, let's do this. So that's how I got into it. And at the time, my husband was a loan processor.
Okay.
He worked for a big company known as Lehman Brothers that ended up
I know that one.
going out of business. And it was kind of perfect timing because he was the first round of layoffs when the market was imploding. So he got a severance package. And I always had wanted to move back to Portland. And so we did it at that time. And it was kind of sad because I knew if we came here, I couldn't stay in real estate. I needed to get a job and take care of us while he regrouped on what he was going to do.
Right.
After being here for like 4 or 5 years, I'm like, that's it. Enough's enough. That's what I want to do. And I got back into it. I need to be able to just have time to brainstorm in my perfect world. Sit down and brainstorm. What do you really want to do? Fortunately, during that time, my husband went to school and got licensed to become a nurse. So right when he was getting out of school, I was able to make that break. And at the same time, I kind of got pregnant is what I was going to say. I got pregnant. There was no kind of
fully got pregnant.
about it. Yeah, I got pregnant and I decided early on that I was just going to be at home. And it was crazy. Like the freedom of having your brain just... you know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about.
I end up doing a lot of things.
Well, I was up until like 1 or 2 in the morning making business plans for all kinds of things that never came to fruition. Because I was like, oh, note to self, I'm not a stay-at-home mom. I need to like get away and do something else. And what is that? And it took me a little while to decide, yeah, I'm just going to go back into real estate. Mm-hmm. And so I just...
But you didn't just go back into real estate. You went back into real estate.
That was not the plan.
Okay.
I don't know if I told you that. I mean, I told my husband, I'm going to go back. I want to do it part-time, maybe do like 5 or 6 transactions a year. Mm-hmm. I want to be home with the kids and be able to do that. And every single time I would say that, he would just roll his eyes and be like, yeah, I know you.
He knows you.
Totally. I know you. And I know people are going to want to work with you. And then he's right. You know, I can't help myself. So I'm there at night. I put the kids to bed. I'm texting people like, how can I help you? I'm getting licensed again. And yeah, I mean, I think I don't know, multiplied my goal by like 10. You know?
Your 5 turned into like 25.
It was like, 26 or 30 the first year.
Oh, man.
And then just kept going from there. So yeah, I went back totally unintentionally.
Yeah.
So this last year I've been working on recreating what that looks like and getting rid of the things that I don't want.
Yeah.
So I can do the things that I do love. I love doing real estate. I love doing construction, just on a different level. Mm-hmm. And I started my podcast.
Yes.
Thanks to your cousin. And
so the podcast is called
Real Talk, Real Change.
And what do you explore on your podcast?
So it's gone through some, changes. It was so fun doing it with Heather. Yeah. We would just kind of show up and it was like coffee shop talks, whatever was going on in our lives at that time. And
I loved it because I haven't listened to it for a while. I listen to it in chunks. When I get a chunk,
that's what I do too.
And I catch up on all of them. But it's so vulnerable. Like both of you got so raw and vulnerable so quickly.
Well, I mean, my husband gave me a gift of separation while we were doing that, so I was able to share that with the world.
Episode or something.
Like the third, seriously, like right in the beginning. So I was able to process that and go through that and share that on the podcast.
So tell us a little bit about what that separation was like for you. I learned a ton from you about just like how to be the best humans we can be, because it was a really tough situation, and you, like, I was really impressed by how you came through it. So
I'm not gonna lie, I was impressed by how I was like, whoa, who's that chick? She's awesome. I'm spiritual, not religious, and if I were religious, I would just there was something outside of myself.
Yeah.
I was faced with one of the hardest things I've ever gone through. You know, my husband is the closest person to me and has been for the last 14 years. And we definitely had our issues, and like you and I haven't even really caught up on this. I asked him to leave for a very specific reason. He knew he did something, and it had been already expressed, if you do this, then I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. And I didn't want to, and I needed to follow through on what I said. The curveball was 2 days later when he was like, yeah, I'm not gonna talk to you, and I don't want to be there anyway. Wow. And I was like, whoa, I didn't even know what to do. You know, I had a vision in my mind of how this was going to go, even though it was so hard. I mean, as soon as he drove out of the driveway, I was up in my bathroom. I had to lock myself in there for a few minutes because my kids were home, and I did a Marco Polo to Heather. And I mean, I have it. I have an unpublished blog that I started where I could just kind of journal my thoughts, and I have that on there. Day one of I'm just sobbing. Yeah. And didn't know what I was going to do next. And it was really amazing. I never ever thought in a million years what would happen next, with him just completely detaching from me. And I mean, he left everything. He left his car, everything. Here I am.
His car. Did you just like walk?
He left. Like, so totally, right? He's like, I'm so done with you.
I don't even care right now.
Totally. Well, you know, he had me buy him that fancy car, and he took our like Jeep, our beat up, old paid up. His? I have one and he has one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dual Teslas.
So I'm literally sitting in this like big beautiful house on half an acre with 2 Teslas in the driveway by myself. And I'm like, man. Well, this is a moment. Yeah.
I've gotten here.
Like not totally. I don't even take out the trash, and all these things started to hit me. It was like this, you know, ripple effect, like, oh, wait, yeah. And I need to do this and I need to do that. And I'll tell you, so that was a Saturday, and I had one at the garage organized and cleared out because I love things being organized. And I was like, all right, this is going down. And I got out in the garage and just, you know, you take control over the things that you have control in your life when you're in those moments of complete and total powerlessness. Right. And so I did. I got out there. I loaded up my car. The kids and I, we did some Goodwill runs, some Target returns.
Things have been sitting there for months.
Totally. And I took a picture of my beautifully cleaned garage. The next day, I had some friends who were going paddleboarding, and I've never been paddleboarding. I had never certainly taken the kids out on a trip like that by myself. Yeah. And my kids are 5 and 7. They're old enough. We just got complacent in our life. That's what I really realized. Loaded them up, got snacks, went out there. We went paddleboarding. We had a great time. That's day 2. You know, so it was moments of fighting back, just complete and total hysterics, and also so much joy. Yeah. You know, it was this really weird
embracing everything that you could.
Totally enjoying each moment with them. And again, did not know what was going to come. I did not know the woman I was going to be or the person I was going to be. And it was a few days later that it was going to be my first weekend without the kids. So on a Thursday night, I booked a ticket or trip to Denver for the next day because I was going to be home alone. It's on my list of places I wanted to go. I just did it. Yeah. And I'm like, and I want to stay at the Four Seasons. And I booked the trip I wanted. Nice. And I wasn't really a good traveler before that, and I didn't really travel alone. I went to a comedy show by myself while I was out there. I went to Red Rocks. I Ubered by myself up to Red Rocks and walked around and embraced all of the feelings that came over me. And that was the thing. It wasn't about shutting them out. It was about feeling them. Yeah. And I can remember it was a beautiful day, and I'm walking in this like expansive, beautiful, and this feeling just kind of overcame me. Like if people see a picture of me right now on Facebook, they'll be like, oh, that's so cool. And I thought, like, but what is this? Like, and I think I shared it on Facebook. Who am I? What am I? What am I doing? This is a picture of a woman who is daring greatly, who's going out on her own and embarking on new adventures and journeys, and is also so sad and feels so much pain and so much loneliness and so much happiness and so much freedom and so much possibility. Yeah. It was everything. And there was a swinging chair. I mean, I couldn't have planned these 35 days. We were only separated for 35 days. I couldn't have planned it any better. And I sat in this like swinging bench and just felt it, and had my sunglasses in Red Rocks with my sunglasses on. Totally. And then I cried and I felt it. And then like I had this like moment of peace come over me. And one of my friends lives kind of nearby, and I was like, hey, you want to come pick me up? And spent the day with her and her family. I mean, it was amazing. Flew home. And what I realized is I started having all these firsts while he was gone.
Yeah.
It wasn't reckless abandon like it was before. Like, that would have just been at the bars, trashed, filling myself with regret and like sadness and, you know, what am I doing, and doubt and judgment. Instead, I filled myself up with this reckless abandon that was all positive. Just like, who cares? Let's go.
Possibilities are endless. Let's just
Totally.
enjoy it.
Like, it was being faced in that moment of, and that's not a tragedy compared to tragedies that people go through, but a moment of like, wow, I never ever thought this would happen, and here I am. So what does it matter? What am I scared of? I don't have anything else to be scared of.
Right.
We went camping. We don't camp. I haven't camped in 11 years. I took the kids camping.
By yourself?
My friends were there, but by myself.
Right.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, you had support.
Loaded up the truck. I'm like, we're camping? Floated down the river. We've never done that. Jumped off a cliff into some like natural pool. I was like, literally every day, I'm like,
so
who
cool.
are you? So cool.
But at the same time, you're going through
total sadness,
trying to figure out what's going to happen with you and Steve.
Yeah, you know, I wasn't in the space of trying to figure it out, because there was no trying to figure it out, especially when someone's so shut down. And as hard as that was for me in the moment, I'm so grateful that he was so shut down, because it made me have to dig even deeper. At the same time, his family didn't reach out to me, and my family didn't reach out to me. So I literally was like, okay, you got to figure this out.
Wow. Like,
there's no support system here. Some of my friends showed up for me in just such an amazing way. And again, I was mad. My therapist had to work with me on a few sessions to get past that. I'm grateful, really, though, because I literally had to dig so deep to make sure that I would stay standing. And if I didn't have to go that far or do that much work or really look at myself, I wouldn't have gotten the lessons that I needed to get out of it. And one of my girlfriends took me on a walk one day. She doesn't sugarcoat things, and she doesn't lie. So, you know, we're on this walk, and she's like, let's not talk about Steve. Let's talk about you, because you've taken your family for granted. You've taken your relationship for granted. I don't care what he's doing.
And she just said it how it was.
Totally. And like, we all need that friend.
Yeah.
Period. And we all, if you're not there, need to work on getting to a place where you can get there.
Yeah.
And really, we came up with a plan for me to be in love and kindness, independent of what happened with the relationship.
Yeah.
And from that talk and from that walk, I mean, I went out and I executed, because I didn't know if I wanted him back, even though I was so sad. I met him when I was 25 years old. Yeah. I am so different today. My confidence.
I mean, you're only 26 now, but it's a long year.
30. I mean, if only, like, the confidence and the financial security and everything that I have now, and to be single and to be able to go out and like be out in the world and explore, it was exciting at the same time. So I didn't fully know what I wanted. However, I did know I wanted to make amends for how much I took him for granted and how I had treated him. And to do that, I did need to be loving and kind, even though there were some times like it took everything I had, because I'm like, I want to come run you over. And I would leave a card instead that said, thank you. I appreciate you. Have a great day. It changed me. It changed my heart. It changed who I was. It changed how we interacted, and it changed our relationship.
Yeah. One of the things, I mean, I listened to a couple podcasts that you had talked about this. And so one of the things that really struck me was that you continue to put yourself back into that space of you had to take the responsibility for whatever part of the relationship that you had. And that was pretty inspiring for me to be able to see. So what were some of the other things that you did that really like put you in that space and allowed you to have forgiveness and reconcile?
What I didn't realize is it starts with us. And so all of the, grace and courtesy and love that I wanted to extend to him, I wouldn't really be able to do if I didn't fully extend it to myself.
Right.
And even, those of us who are on this path of enlightenment or, self-love, there's still pieces that we're like, okay, I got these few things down, but there's this piece that still I'm not there
okay
yet.
with myself.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I couldn't show up in this way until I got fully okay with myself. So I went and got a journal, and I haven't journaled in years. And I like black and gray and white. Mm-hmm. They're my favorite colors. And I decided it was going to be happy and bright. So I had this whole outing with myself. I went on a really long, beautiful walk, and I went to the paper store and bought the most beautiful journal that I could find and a pack of colorful pens. And I would just write in this journal. Literally, I have a section. It was WTF. Because he would do things, and I'm like, are you kidding me? And
instead Put that
of,
in there.
Totally. Instead of text messaging, it would just go in my WTF section. I had a section for actions, and a lot of it had to do with me, and it had to do with not just me being kind and loving towards him, but kind and loving towards myself, which meant, okay, I know there's a certain way that I eat that makes me feel better versus another way. Okay, check. Because that means I care about myself if I show up in that way. I know that while I'm going through this, the last thing I need to be doing is drinking and checking out. All right, done. I'm not going to do that. So I started walking every day. Yeah. I walked miles and miles and miles and miles. Let's see, meditation, taking that time out for myself. I mean, I joke about it on the podcast all the time that going through this experience, I almost felt like I was on Xanax every day. And I wasn't.
Because you were meditating?
Because I was so, just everything.
Yeah.
I went from constantly being at this high anxiety state just to being here. And it felt so good that I wanted more of it. I started waking up early in the morning. And I mean, in my 39 years, I would never tell you I was a morning person, quite the opposite. However, my body was just waking me up. And then I realized, oh, this is kind of amazing. It's quiet. I can take care of some things. I feel like I've already tackled some hard stuff before the day starts. So all of these things created this environment for myself where I'm like, I feel good. Anything that I want to do, I'm going and doing. I love myself. I'm giving myself room to make mistakes and regroup and just giving myself a break. And what I really realized is I think sometimes when I was being so hard on him and just constantly nagging, it was only because of my shortfalls and my shortcomings. Sometimes I was so disappointed in myself about what I was doing, I had to control another person to fill that void. Yeah. And so, gosh, it was a lot of just honest conversations with myself.
With yourself. Mm-hmm. And not conversations with him because you weren't really even talking.
Mm-mm.
So you were processing all of this without having a sounding board.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah,
it's pretty amazing. I mean, when people talk about you got to go in to yourself, you really did it.
I felt like I didn't have a choice. If I wanted to survive, and one of my hashtags is survive and thrive.
Right.
If I wanted to survive, I know there's an option to thrive through this. And that was the only way I could do it. In the weeks following it, I'd be having meetings with my team. And I can remember one time we were on a conference call having a meeting. I just had to put it on mute because I'm just there crying and having my meeting. I mean, the show must go on. And I'm the one who is financially supporting us at that time. I mean, it wasn't an option to lie in bed and put the covers over my head and say, I'm out. It wasn't. Yeah. So, and I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. I always have believed that we can do hard things and I can do hard things. We say a lot of things, sound bites.
Right.
You only live once, tomorrow's not promised, all this BS, and then none of us live tomorrow's not promised.
Right.
We're wasting time.
It's a true statement, but we don't. It's BS.
We do, because we just say it all the time. This gave me a moment to truly live I don't know what happens in the next moment, and I want to take advantage of every single second I have right now. So, I just got through it. I did not see another alternative.
And then you got back together. How did that?
Yeah.
How did it happen? You have the sparkle in your eye.
I know. Well, it's just so. Actually, no, that was great. Being apart. We've been together for 14 years, and you've been together with your partner for a long time. Yeah. Things just, I don't know, not for everybody, but things can change. And being apart and regrouping and kind of becoming not just the person I was before, because I think I was better than the person I was before, for him to see me in this whole new light. I mean, I was never really a part of the house. I had checked out from my household.
And he pretty much ran the whole house.
He ran everything. So for him to be able to come over and see kids picking up after themselves. Like it was great, and we were having fun, and it was really mellow, and stuff was happening the way that it needed to happen. I mean, I was running a calm and peaceful and tight ship over there. And he had said that in couples therapy one time, like, it's amazing to watch her with the kids. And I think just getting that, you know, him to be able to appreciate me in a new way, me to appreciate him in a new way, that his guard just started to go down. I found a new love for him. And, but you know, integrating back in was not
because you had
easy.
You had control of the whole house. And
I had control over the whole house. And I will say, like, it was kind of nice to know that my kids were going to be somewhere else every other weekend. Like,
you had a whole weekend free.
I had no obligation. It didn't matter where I was. I didn't have to feel guilty because I actually didn't have to be there for kids or a husband or anybody else.
Right.
And, you know, I took full advantage of that. I had some great explorations. I mean, we're talking 35 days. I did more in 35 days than I've done in the last 5 years. So having him integrate back in was hard.
Yeah.
And it's that expectation and those unmet expectations. And that's something that I really realized through like journaling and processing on my own. Or every time I wouldn't send the text, or when I would mess up and send the text.
The what the F.
It all comes down to expectations. Because you send it with an expectation of what you're going to get back.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't happen that way,
just escalate.
Or we just spiral. Like you can't even stop yourself, you know? So I really, that was like a huge lesson. Okay, most of our issues stem around our expectations that we just need to get rid of. Like period, for ourselves, for other people. So he came back in, took a couple weeks. You know, there were a couple blowouts, like, whoa, was this a bad move? And then I was able to engage differently than I had in the past when that happened. Like, okay, here's where I see my part. This is what I did. This is what I could have done differently. Let's try this again. What are our ground rules for
how are we going to approach this?
Talking through things like we never had. And I read The 5 Love Languages during this time. Have you read that?
Yeah, we live by that.
Right?
Yeah.
But the quality conversation where every night you sit down and talk about the things that happened in your day and how it made you feel. So just being able to bring it down. And I think there's a part in there where he talks about the babbling brook and the Dead Sea. I'm the babbling brook and he's the Dead Sea. And that's how our relationship was for many years. So my job was to listen. Yeah. And he takes a long time to explain things or express himself and gather his thoughts. My job was simply to listen. It was really good. And we still do it. I mean, that's kind of like the thing. I'm like, I feel like we have to do that so we have that connection time. Yeah. Because the days are long and we get tired and we have kids and sometimes after you put them to bed, you just want to like zone out and watch TV.
Or just go to sleep.
And if you do that enough days in a row, you're not even knowing what's going on.
So you mentioned that in your podcast, and I've been doing that with our family. Yeah. Like talking about like what are some things that you felt today. That's
awesome.
It's been so good because things come up that like, especially with my little boy Weston, who doesn't really emote a lot, that he's able to be like, oh yeah, I felt this, and that's really great.
Isn't it so awesome? Yeah. I do it with the kids too. Yeah. I'll ask them, what happened? How did you feel? I love it. Game changer.
Yeah, because I mean, we used to do what was your best part and worst part of your day.
Yeah, right.
But like, what are some things that you felt really gets in deeper to what's going on for them, and for them to be able to hear Tucker express like how he's feeling and how I'm feeling, and like goods and bads. It really connects you.
And like you said, you learn things. I mean, there's been stuff that's come up for us. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize like you paid attention to that. Right. Like, that's cool. Yeah. So that was a really big thing, and I continue to stay on that path of like getting up early and reading some spiritual or self-development books and meditating, which I want to be like really clear. I don't want to give this like false sense of like I'm sitting here like in this perfect position. So totally meditating for 20. No, it's like 2 minutes. I meditate for like 2 to 4 minutes. I get it done. It's quiet. If I have a moment of quietness, I've succeeded. And it feels like a huge win for the day, and I don't care. Yeah.
So then what's your journaling like when you're in a rush?
I just want to get out of thought. Like, I don't do like pages and pages. And what I started doing when I started journaling is almost like bullet points. So if I just have an idea, and I still do that. So it's not just pages. Yeah, it'll be like point 1, point 2. So literally my process is getting up. I have 2 journals. One is where I write down all of my I am statements, my positive statements they're like my things that I want to come to fruition in my life. Big things. Some big things and some just I am living a life I love. Yeah. because I never want to go back to the life I was living in. It was not a life that I loved. So I do that. And then I'll do like some journaling, maybe 1 statement, maybe 5 statements, just depends. And then I will read 1 or 2 passages out of Wisdoms of Sunday, the Oprah book. They're like excerpts from the Super Soul Conversations. So good. Yeah, it's just like enough to kind of get your brain right. And then I'll meditate for 1 to 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I read a book, like 1 page, 5 pages, however much time I have.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's 20 minutes, just having that time to ground myself and to get into my process sets my day, right?
Yeah.
I prefer like 45 to 60 minutes, and typically that's what I do. There are just no excuses to not
do it. Just to make the time. It's got to make the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. Okay, so now you've got this brokerage firm. You're a real estate broker. You have a construction company. And you've now started a nonprofit. So tell us about the nonprofit that you're doing.
Yeah. So when I rebranded the companies like a year and a half ago, I did them all under kind of the same header so that the nonprofit can really be tied into what we're doing. I love my jobs and what I do, and I just feel this need to be really connected to giving back and helping people. I really needed to get crystal clear, and I'm so grateful to have started it, the Encompass Life Foundation. And at first we started just with people who worked in the office, and I just wanted to be in process. You know, for me, just moving forward, and I had some kind of loose, big ideas. And then I had the great fortune of going to the TEDx talks in Portland in 2018. And one of the speakers I just connected with his story and what he's doing. So I knew I needed to hunt him down at the break. His name is Tyrone Poole, and he has started what's called One App of Oregon, where people can go to this site, One App Oregon, and fill out an application for housing, no application fee, and it hits it against, right? Like everyone needs to know about this.
Yeah.
Genius. And he learned about it through a time where he had an injury at the end of firefighter school, ended up in the hospital, ended up losing everything, and in a homeless shelter.
Oh my goodness.
So he had this idea. So I went and found him on the break. Turns out we were both 40 under 40 in the same year, so we had some like context to connect.
Here in Portland.
Yeah.
Okay.
So his family came over one day. First time we're hanging out, it's both of our families, and he was there for like 5 hours, and we're just yeah. And at the end, he tells me how he wants to go into homeless shelters and have people fill out their application on One App, because he really wants to show how powerful the software is, and for us to create a video, and that he needed a nonprofit to run it through. And I'm like, well, I have a nonprofit.
Yeah.
And that sounds like something I would totally want
to
to do.
You had already set up the nonprofit at this point.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So we stayed connected, and through that, I opened up the board to community members. I just have the most amazing group of people that showed up to be part of this. And so now we're calling it Operation ELF, E-L-F, where we'll transition people out of being homeless or almost being homeless into their own homes in time for the holidays. So there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff going on that we're not telling because it's a big surprise. And we're doing a video on it, so it'll be like a 2-minute production that comes out when we're all done. And we just helped a mom, really some of the most vulnerable people that need assistance are the people that aren't totally down and out or in the gutters where there might be services available for them.
Right.
It's the people who have jobs or who have always had jobs. I'm not talking about chronic homeless. I'm talking medical bills.
Right.
That life event that happened suddenly that changed things for somebody, and now they find themselves not knowing what to do next.
Yeah.
There are not a lot of services readily available for those people. Maybe they make too much money, whatever the case may be. However, they're about to fall into a category that they don't have to go to if we could step in and help them. So the mom we just helped, she, it's a crazy story. Her and her 2 kids were living in a 2-bedroom apartment with like 16 people.
Oh,
man. Yeah, and they needed to be out in a few weeks, and they were going to be homeless.
Wow.
And just the support of one of our board members sitting down with her to say, fill out this application. Let's see where you qualify for.
Wow.
They met twice, found a place that would accept her. However, they wanted a double deposit. This is a woman who's just barely making it.
Yeah.
Our nonprofit was able to give $880, not a lot of money, changed her life to help give the double deposit so that she can get a home for her and her children. So they moved in. So just having that support. So those are the people that we want to reach and help. she was on the line of going this way or that way.
Yeah.
We're able to help her keep moving forward and give her the opportunity, her children the opportunity to create their own legacy.
Yeah, my goodness. Here you are helping these people. You've got this board together. And this is one of the things that about you that inspires me is your ability to rally. Like some people just have it and you have it. You can rally with the best of them.
Yeah.
Like here's a need, let's rally, let's all help.
Yeah, a little too much sometimes.
No, but it's awesome. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
think there can ever be too much of that because there's not enough people who have that skill in this world. And so I really appreciate that about you. Yeah. And I want to know what it was like for you growing up, for you now to be in this space where you're helping, you're seeing the need, you see the need with so much clarity. How are you able to do that coming from where you came from?
I'm just, I'm so grateful, and I never want to lose sight of that. My life has changed so much, and I think it's so important for me to remember that. There were angels that showed up for me all throughout my life, starting when I was young, 5, 6, 7 years old, where people would bring food for us. My mom, she has got her own host of issues. She did the best she can. She's got 3 kids. She was a single mom. And people literally would come just to feed us and take care of us. And then as I got older, friends' parents who would just sit with me. They saw something in me. They knew I was smart. They believed in me. And if they didn't believe in me, I don't know where I would be right now. I didn't have anything else to believe in. I mean, I always joke now that I'm the after-school special. I'm like the poster child for after-school special. I did it all. Spin the wheel, pick a topic. I lived it. And, but I had these people that believed in me. And so it gave me enough like hope and enough of a belief in myself. And also, I think at just a real basic level, I didn't want to let them down.
Yeah.
So I kept showing up, in those moments, truly in those moments where I'm like, this is too much. I can't do it. There's nothing worth living for. I mean, I have had those thoughts so many times in my past. And then I would think about these angels that were there for me. And I'm like, no, but, Rose believes in me, or Bob and Sue believe in me. Yeah. I can't do this. I know I'm better than this. So I really don't know where I would be if it wasn't for them. And if I could do that for other people. And that's how I kind of started on the business path. And I think why our team grew so big is I just want to believe in people and support them. I know what a person can do if they have that. I hope to be and always should be, for me, in this space of giving back. I want my kids to see it. They can see me in service. They can see us helping other people. They can get an experience that this is not how life is for everyone. And here's how we show up for other people. So yeah, I'm so grateful all the time. And I think maybe that is what goes towards my attitude of that survive side, not just or the thrive side, not just the survive. Is I've been through it so many times, and
You've already survived it.
I've already survived so much, and not to say that more won't happen. It does every day. There's stuff that happens. Maybe our days don't go as planned, or that unexpected curveball. Every single day, there's something that comes up for us, and I'm grateful. I mean, look at our lives. We're able to come with resources and tools that a lot of people don't get to show up with. So if I can give any part of that to someone else, I will. And so that's what we're doing right now. Operation ELF. We're going to really make a meaningful impact on the lives of 4 families. And once we do our part, it doesn't stop there. What makes this a bit different is we've got people to volunteer, like life coaches, life advocates, to stay with each family for a year. So whether it's monthly, quarterly, they will check in to make sure that they have a resource to go to, ask questions. I don't want to just put them there and be like, look what we did. And good luck, you're on your own. They have a chance. Yeah. This is literally just about people who need that small bit of support to keep moving forward. And, I hope to carry this on. There are other branches that I want to bring into this, other goals that I have for Encompass Life Foundation. I'd love to provide scholarships to children for alternative education, like Montessori and just anything that's not public school. Because there are some
vocational training, trade school.
There are some amazing, bright, talented people out there who are not going to fulfill their greatest purpose because they think that they're different, which is wrong or bad or whatever it is, the messages that they're being given. So if I could help support them in finding out, no, you're different. Great. That's amazing.
Right.
What your perceived weakness is, a strength for you. Yeah, let's use that. Totally.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking time with us today. This has been
Thanks for
awesome.
having me. Yeah, so cool and great. Like just catching up.
I know
and
we need to catch up.
Chatting.
More.
I know the families need to get together.
Thank you so much for meeting with us today. Thank you so much for watching Our Village, Our Voices and joining us with Elisha Alcantara today. And please check out her podcast, Real Change, Real Talk.
Real talk, real change.
And that one, Real Talk, Real Change.